just about to begin, just trying to try some things out. Man, I wanted to have music. I had some music selected and everything. Here we go. Let's see. Did it work? Oh, there you are. Good. I was like, oh man, I hope this thing works. Because just like you're like, I'm new at this. I'm like, yeah, so am I.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh, how are you doing? Thank you, thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you. This is gonna be fun.
This is going to be so fantastic because
Ah.
it's not like I just now knowing you. I've known you from time.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna wait a few seconds just as people are starting to join
Cool.
on and stuff like that. But how are you doing? How's your day today?
Hectic, hectic, hectic. But that's life, right? What are you gonna
That's
do?
that's the way it goes, man. If you had seen me like 2 minutes ago trying to get everything done, because I just had a client that I just finished with, and it's like,
Mm.
okay, particle, okay, make sure you have this. Okay, all right, come on, press play. Hi, everyone. How are you?
I know that life all too well.
That's amazing, amazing. So, hi, everyone. Those who are on right now, this is Hope's Corner, wishing you and your family love, wealth, wellness, knowledge, community, joining together as community, ensuring that we have lots of love for one another. I have my brother here, Greg Birkett. I should call you, am I going to call you Professor? What am I calling you today? What am I
Please,
calling you?
please, I want to go by my Jamaican pet name, Raldan. So
Well done.
please, let's just go with Greg.
Oh, thank you very, very much. Thank you. We're going to have enough jokes, eh? Okay. Greg, welcome to the show. I really, really appreciate your time.
Mm.
I know you've been really busy, especially during Black History Month.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to just ask you right out the bat, what have you been busy with? Because I know you've been busy, but I'm not sure if everybody knows.
Okay, so I've done a few different things. I guess the biggest thing that I'm mostly busy with right now is a webinar, a national webinar for teachers. It's called See Us, Learn Us, teaching about the Black Canadian experience. And really what it is trying to get educators comfortable enough to ensure that they're teaching the Black Canadian experience in a meaningful way, in a vertical cross-curricular way, meaning that we want it to be done from kindergarten up to grade 12 in all disciplines. So not just in history, but in music, in everything, really. Uh, ooh, sorry, did I lose? Okay. I
No,
felt
you're
like I
still
was
there.
there for a second. Okay, we're back.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. In music, in drama, in just all disciplines, right? So not just in history, but also in math, science, whatever. So that's been taking up a lot of my time. Myself and my sister co-host that along with Nelson Education. So that's pretty cool. Been doing a ton of interviews with all kinds of different media outlets. So CTV, CBC tomorrow. What else? City TV. And today there's an article in the Globe and Mail about myself and my sister and what we're doing with Nelson Education. So just tons of things, man, really. Just
That's fantastic. Congratulations. I'm so glad the voice is being heard. It's needed, especially for Black Canadians. Like, it's been such an interesting suppression that we've
mm,
so covered up by just smiling and just putting our heads down. And, our parents, just do your work, get your education, shut up your mouth, no cause no trouble. And it was just like, but I don't feel like I'm getting the best, or I don't feel like I'm getting this. And
mm,
we were taught to just stop your eyes, don't make trouble, don't get into any issues or situations, and just kind of come out of this. It's like, don't speak for yourself, just
Right.
promote this, right?
Yeah.
And so it's very nice to hear that we're trying to change that. You know,
Yeah.
I know as a parent of two boys, two black boys, that I don't want to hear, oh, just let them slide on by, you know.
Right. Right. And
My children are smart.
that's the thing.
Don't discount them, you know.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
just pass them through the system. I want them to be well educated. I
Yeah.
want them to be competitive in the market. I want them to stand tall with their head up and know that they they have worth,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so I applaud everything that you and your sister are doing. I
Mm.
stand behind you. If there's any way that Hope's Corner, I don't know where this is going to go in the future, but if we can do anything for you, if I
Mm.
can do anything for you, I definitely am on board. And I really appreciate what you're doing. So I know that it's busy. I know that, you know, you're turning corners. Plus you're a writer, you're a creator. I'm going to post the thing that you and Marcus did on my page after we're done, and
Thank
put
you.
the link in there, because it's fantastic. You've been doing great things from time, but like I feel like you're climbing up that mountaintop right now.
I'm just trying to, see where God wants me, and just keep pushing forward. And what you said there about, your black boys not being, pushed through the system, that's so huge, right? I think a lot of times in education, they feel like they're helping us by placating and just, allowing us to get by with the bare minimums and things of that nature. And really, we still want our kids to be challenged, but we want you to acknowledge and understand that we have unique challenges and account for those as well, right? So it's not about giving us handouts and pushing us through the system, and just allowing us to get by. But we still want our kids to be challenged, but we definitely want you to understand that there are certain barriers that our kids face that other people just aren't facing. And we need you to understand that that there are ways to account for that, and there are ways around that, and there are ways to help our students with that, to make sure that everybody succeeds.
Absolutely. One of the things that we should also talk about is merging home with school. I think we've lost that. I think it's one of those things where we just push our kids off to school and just say, go learn, right?
Yeah.
But you don't know what's going on in the system. You don't know where they're going in the system. And so do you have any ideas of how we can bridge that gap as a community?
Definitely. And see, the thing is, for us, back in our day, I know our parents were always like, the teacher's right.
Yeah.
And even if the teacher was batting you up and doing some things, he's like, no, the teacher's right. And now we've got this big pendulum shift where it's just, no, don't talk to my kid that way. He's right, or she's right. She told me what you did, or whatever the case might be. And I think we need to find some kind of commonality, some kind of meeting in between there, right? So in between the whole, you know, the teacher's right, because sometimes the teacher really is able to see some things that you don't, right? Because at home, you're seeing a different side of your kid. But at the same time, we also have to take into account that there are teachers with unconscious bias and or biases, and they take that out on the kids, sometimes explicitly, and sometimes knowingly, and sometimes not, right?
Mm.
So we definitely have to take that into consideration. We have to find some kind of a happy medium. So parents definitely need to be active in their kids' education. They need to go to parent-teacher meetings. They need to schedule opportunities to meet with guidance counselors. That's one thing that or the last thing that I was doing with in the school board is guidance counseling. Right now I'm on a leave working with Nelson Education, doing these webinars and different things like that. But as a guidance counselor, it was always a joy to have the opportunity to speak to Black parents. And I know that Black parents were often relieved to see me, because there are hardly any Black guidance counselors, right? And when I was in school, I didn't know any, right? So I'm a little bit of an anomaly, right? So when you're in there, you feel like you have this opportunity to really help parents understand the system, and really, give them the ins and outs that our parents didn't have, right? So, I would always recommend for Black parents to definitely try their best to schedule opportunities to meet with guidance counselors. If there's something that you're questioning with regards to a teacher, send the teacher an email, right?
Yeah.
And ask them if you can meet them, or ask them what's going on, if they could explain further why, why your kid isn't doing as well as you think they should be doing, or could be doing. So just be really active, right? And I think when teachers know, or when educators know that they're being held accountable, things move differently, right? Things just go a little bit differently. And, I'm not here to beat up on teachers, because the job is hard, man. It is challenging, it's intense, and it goes 24/7. A lot of people think that it's over at 3:30. It's not, right? There's always lesson planning and marking and all of that. But at the same time, right, I do think that we as a community need to hold our educators accountable, so that we can see the results that we want to see.
What can we talk to what can we how can we encourage our youth? Because we've gone through a pandemic right now.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone through this online learning. Everything is about the phone. There's no social interaction.
Yeah.
You know, you don't really need to hear parents anymore. You can just put your headphones in, go about your business. Before, and I know this is not always the best thing, but when we were growing up, it's like, what do you want to be? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would be like, okay, strive to be that thing. Right. You talk to a lot of youth nowadays, it's like, what do you want to be? I don't know. I want to be famous. Right. And there's no game plan, there's no layout, there's no how do we help our youth? How do we help our youth?
That's the $1 million question. I think a big part of it is meeting them where they're at. Now more than ever, relationships are key, right? So we come from a generation where they tell you what to do, and more or less you try to do it to avoid licks or whatever, right? But now I think relationship is really the way to get through to youth, right? So, it'd be something simple like, at school, having a handshake with a student that, is only with that student. I know a lot of you have seen that video where that teacher is lining up his students in front of his class, and he's got a different handshake with like all of them. You know what I mean? But that's relationship building right there. So, meeting them where they're at, building trust, and letting them know that you value them and that you value what they have to say as well. And that is the hardest thing, man. I can't even front. My daughter, my daughter can chat. Oh my gosh. She comes home and she has all these stories and all these different things to tell you. My son's the same way too, but my daughter, it can go on and on and on, and it can be challenging, but I got to sit there and I got to listen to her, because I don't want the time to come where she's going to shut up and not tell me the things that I need to know. Right. So putting in that time and building relationship is just so important. It's so key, at every stage of their development too. Right. So from when they're 6 to when they're 16, you got to be intentional about sitting there and talking to them, making time for them. Again, with my daughter, I can't tell you how many movies I've seen that I wouldn't normally watch. Like, I'm watching all these girly movies, and, Daddy, you want to watch Tall Girl? And it's like, okay, you sit there and you watch it because you're trying to build relationship with her. I remember one of my vice principals said to me one time, you put into the emotional bank so that when you need to make a withdrawal, you have something that you can put,
Ooh,
right? And that's really a big one when it
yeah.
comes to youth now. You got to put in the time so that when it comes to make that withdrawal, you actually have something there that you've invested in that you can take out.
And we have to learn that communication might not always be easy, but it's doable.
Yeah.
It can be uncomfortable, but it's doable. Like,
Yes.
and the thing is, what I've learned, especially with the children, don't use yes or no or closed off questions.
You cannot.
Don't say, how was your day? Fine.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You have to be like what I do with my son was like, what's the most exciting thing you had about this day?
Yes.
Or, did you get to finish all of your work? What was the best thing that you got to do today?
Yeah.
Just encouraging them to have those conversations. And you really do have to start off small, because
Yes.
if you don't start off small, like, good luck when they're a little bit older. And you got to show them that, just like what you're saying, that you're open to a lot of things that
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
mommy, did you know the da 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 da? I'm like, uh-huh, yeah, Oh, really? Yeah, that's great. Yes. Like
Yeah,
show them that you are involved, that you are engaged. Show them that
yes,
no matter what they're doing, that they are loved. Even the things that you want to shake your head to and say, "Love God," you know what I mean? I was talking to another young person the other day, and like they feel so judged, even when
mm,
they're not judged,
yeah,
right? And so it was like, Auntie, I didn't feel like I could tell you this because I didn't know what you were gonna think.
mm,
And I was just like, well, first and foremost, thank you for telling me.
mm-hmm,
And all I had to say was, okay, so what's the game plan? You know what
yes,
I mean?
yeah,
As opposed to chastising. Like the culture of chastising needs to dissipate. Like we need to
yeah,
get rid of that. We
yeah,
need to be able to, even when we know that it's going the wrong way, that we can actually just embrace it. Like,
for sure.
and be able to walk through it with them. So, one of the things that we definitely need to do with our youth is walk through the season with them.
Yes,
Walk
yeah,
through the season, right?
yes,
We know
yes,
it's difficult for all of us. I was listening to a pastor the other day, and he's like, yes, it's hard, but let's continue to walk through one
mm,
step in front of the other. One step. What is that
yeah,
comment? Ah, yes. Yeah. Yeah. I was just reading one of the comments down
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah.
You know,
And and what you're saying there is so key. And I learned a lot of that once I moved out of the classroom and into guidance and realizing that there's a backstory for everything, right? So you see a kid acting up in the classroom, you're just like, yo, what's wrong with this kid? Right. But when you know the backstory, when you understand what's really happening and what's really going on in that kid's life, it makes a big difference. And there have been so many times where, a kid tells me stuff and you're biting your lip because you're just like, yo, what are you telling me right now? Like, I remember this kid, came into my office one time to share something that was going on in her life. And, she's telling me about all these different things that are happening in her life. And she's pregnant and she's 15. She's at risk because she's very small in stature. So, there are health complications, all kinds of things. And then she rolls up her sleeve and she says, so last night I did this, sir, and there's like a bunch of cuts, like deep gashes all the way up her arm. And I'm sitting there and everything inside of me is like, what the? But I'm just like, okay, all right, we're going to work through this, and I let her talk and,
yeah.
hooked her up with the school social worker. And the three of us thought about different ways that we could work towards helping her get through that semester. And this kid was able to get all of her credits, stay on track to graduate on time, have her child ended up going to the daycare in the school. We worked out a whole big plan for her going forward. But, when she came into the office and she's telling me these things, you're just like, eyes rolling back in your head, like, what is going on, right? But you have to sit there and you have to, okay, let's talk about this. Let's work it through, right? And that's the thing, just being engaged, being present, and keeping the judgment, reserving that judgment, keeping it away from the conversation, because once it comes in, things are never going to be the same, right?
No.
So
Now that's where you create the shutdown. And
yeah,
and that's the thing, because I mean, everybody, all of us, young, old, we're all looking for love and
yes,
acceptance, right?
yep,
And a lot of our misguided young people have gone just to the point where they're shutting out everybody because they
yeah,
don't feel the love. And then
mm-hmm,
they develop this I don't care attitude.
yeah,
But you know what? You do. You know what
mm-hmm,
I mean? But it's just a matter of taking time with them to
yeah,
understand that, you know what? You do care. You do
mm-hmm,
care.
mm-hmm,
And I care for you, right? And
yeah,
how do I help you? You
yeah,
know, that's the simplest question, is how do I help you?
mm-hmm,
Right? Sometimes I know, again, we don't have time. Everybody's been having the time. Time is running short, right?
right,
But you make time for the things that are important. You
yes,
make time for our future, our
mm,
generation, right?
yeah,
The legacy. What are we leaving behind? Especially like right now in this Canadian atmosphere, it's almost like where's the legacy? Where
mm,
is the I want to leave this? Where
yeah,
is that? I was talking with another young person about, they're like, I don't think I'll ever own a home, you
wow,
know? And there's, I'm They're engaged. They want to be responsible. They're good.
Mm.
They're good enough age. It's not like they're young. They're good enough age.
Yeah.
They are engaged. They want to move out. And it's like, there's nowhere. I can't
Yeah.
even rent an apartment. Like,
Yes.
two of them are working. We still
Mm.
can't afford it. So I think there's a lot of conversations that have to go on through the municipalities, like government wise, to be
Right.
like, we are letting foreigners in, we're letting everybody else in. This is a bigger topic
Uh,
to go there, right? We're letting people come in and dictate
mm.
our economy, and
Wow.
we're leaving those who were born here, who were
Wow.
raised here with their parents working and sweating, to nothing.
Mm. Mm.
That's hard.
Def.
And like, I know I've been having lots of conversation in regards to this, and it is like, as I'm talking to you right now, I'm like, this is something we really truly need to voice.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have a hope to build a future, then you live your life recklessly.
For
And
sure.
what are we doing for our young people? What are we doing for our Black young people? Not even just the Black young people, but our future generations. So unless they have generational wealth,
Hmm.
where their family's going to leave it for them,
Right.
what?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's to me where I think education is key, because no one can really take that from you, right?
Absolutely.
And that's why, and before it was really about, you finish your education, you go on and you get your degree and whatever, and you would get a job because you showed that you stuck with something and you finished it. But now that's not even necessarily the case, right? So it's not even about telling kids to go to university. It's telling them just complete something that you believe that you will enjoy and that you can work hard at, right? So it's not even about university anymore. It's I encourage a lot of them to think about trades as well. And a lot of people frown on trades and think that that's beneath you, and you're not successful if you're in a trade. And I think that's ridiculous, right? My dad, carpenter, fed us well, bought a home, paid for that home, did all the things, had 2 cars, whatever, all those kinds of things on the trade, right? So I don't look down on the trades at all. I don't see colleges as something that is beneath university. It's about where you actually think you can fit in, and you'll actually stick with something and complete it and work at it hard and do well and be successful at it, right? So I know we always go with this whole, I came from this country to make sure that you get this university degree or whatever the case might be. And I don't know, man. I don't think that's really the way to go at it anymore. I don't discourage you from going to university. I think it's wonderful if that's where you want to go. That's where I went. But at the same time, there's nothing against college. There's nothing wrong with apprenticeships. Nothing wrong with with the trades at all. I think it's about being successful where you believe you can be. Right. And I think that's what we really need to sell to our kids more, and not tell them that they're a disappointment if they didn't go in the direction that we thought they should go.
Yep. Yep. I can attest to that, because I quit my job and went rogue on my parents.
Oh, okay,
You
okay.
crazy? You crazy? We're leaving a good job with a pension and this and that for go do exercise. You're leaving a good job that you're working for 10 plus years for go do exercise.
Right.
You're gonna leave your pension. So that was even a fight in itself, because it was like, but this is killing me.
Mm.
Everybody has to suffer. Everybody has to suffer. And it's just like, everybody does. I don't want to suffer. I don't want to suffer. Okay.
Right. You don't need to. You shouldn't have to. Right. And and I'm seeing there's people on here making some really good points here. What Janice is saying here, and then also I see my sister-in-law on here. Well, actually, sorry, I got to shout out all my sister-in-laws before I get in trouble. But I see my sister-in-law Natasha's on here, and this is someone who has pivoted in their career in so many different ways, right? She's done nursing. She's still in nursing, but she's also an entrepreneur now. There's just so many, you know, I guess what I'm really trying to say is we really have to ensure that our kids are not seeing tunnel vision, because tunnel vision doesn't work anymore, right? You can pivot and go in many different directions. You know, I'm in education, but there's so many different branches of education that you can look into and explore. And I don't think it's about, you know, seeing tunnel vision anymore and staying in a job for 40 years and killing yourself, even if you don't like it. Right.
Mhm.
I think there are opportunities now where we can pivot and try to do different things with the different talents and different interests that we have.
Yeah, you're talking about that tunnel, like, that doctor, lawyer,
Yeah.
nowadays computer engineer,
Yeah.
whatever, right? But there's so many different traits. Like, honestly, there's so many different traits that will
Yeah.
keep you well off. I think honestly, like, traits is going to be the next big thing because nobody wants to get their hands dirty anymore,
Yeah.
right? So it's not as competitive, but it's almost like, guess what? If you want the hours that you want, and you want to come home on the weekend, you know what I mean? Like, it's a
Yes.
different lifestyle. So I mean,
Yeah.
I don't shake on anything. You need someone to clean toilets, you need
Hmm.
someone to unplug the toilets, you need someone
Right.
to build a house, you need somebody to repair the roads, you need somebody to take out the garbage, or else the garbage is going to pile up. So when we think about that
Hmm.
everyday life and everyday necessity, it's
Yeah.
not anything beneath anybody else. Actually,
Oh.
I take this moment and I applaud everyone who works in those jobs that no one else.
Hmm.
I take my hat off, and I
Yes.
say thank you so much. Like, there's times when I'll see my garbage collector out there and I'll be like, thank you. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness, one day I want to take some like Tim Horton cards or whatever and be able
Right.
to like say, I actually want to do that with my those
Mm.
crosswalk guards.
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to be able to do that as well. I said I was going to do it. I got to do it before the school year is done, just to say thank you. Because
Yeah.
those little minuscule things that might seem minute to us are
Hmm.
very big and necessary.
Yes.
So I definitely take my hands off. I'm trying to read a message right now. Let's
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
I left the financial industry after 18 years plus. Yep. Yep. Yes. I want to
Hmm.
impact lives too. Like, we
Right.
we we gotta make some changes here that will be lasting for the generations. I always think about the generations because me not say me not live forever. Let me say that again. I know
Yeah.
I'm not living forever,
Right.
and because of that, I want to ensure that our future is
Hmm.
well taken care of. Like, you know, you want to have that generation's like, oh, these people didn't do anything for me, so now I have to start from scratch.
Yeah. 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 Sorry, someone's saying hi to me in a Bajan accent, which is killing me right now.
I just
But
read it. I kicked myself.
so wow. But yeah, man. No, exactly, exactly. And I think about again, my nephew. He started out. He went to Oakwood University and graduated. Degree in finance and got a job immediately downtown Toronto. And we're so proud of him. And he thought that he had reached the pinnacle of success, and then realized that he was not cut out for that and didn't like it, and then came out and is a firefighter and is loving firefighting. And one of the things that he said to me that was really interesting, he said, I was always considered a smart kid. I always did well, was always on the honor roll, whatever. And it's interesting how we push smart kids into these jobs where they're tucked away in an office, right? And then frontline workers like police officers and firefighters and paramedics and whatever, people who have to make split-second decisions, we don't encourage smart people to go for those jobs, right?
Never thought
So
of that.
right, so
Never thought
the
of that.
people who are exceedingly intelligent, if that person says, I want to be a police officer, we'd say you're selling yourself short. And this is someone who, and this is a job where people need to make split-second decisions, and we see what's happening with individuals, right, who are making decisions based on their biases and things of that nature, and those split-second decisions are costing people's lives, but yet we want to put the smart people away somewhere in a tower, on Bay Street or Yonge Street, and not have them on the front line making these decisions where we think they would, where we actually know intelligence would really actually help, right? So it's really interesting. Again, I think we have to really shift our thinking around what success means and what success is, right? And success really is, as Natasha had put there, she was a nurse and now she's going into entrepreneurship and making her own soaps and creams and stuff like that. And people are saying, why would you leave nursing, for this? And you're making all this money in nursing and whatever. And she's happier doing this. Isn't that success?
That's
Right?
success. 100%.
Right. So I think we really need to start. Yeah. Janice is saying the old school tools, right? We need some different thinking, right? With regards to how we understand it and how we pitch success to our kids, right? And I'm saying this and I'm preaching to the choir too, because, I already know in my mind, I kind of want my kids to do this, that, and the next. And if they don't do it, I may feel disappointed, but I need to shapeshift and I really need to see that success is going to be what makes them happiest.
And as you see them progress, because I remember with Terrell, when we first talked about, going to school, and I was like, oh, you'd be a great educator, kids gravitate towards you, you'll be successful, and so he went off, he started school doing that. And then I think it was like year 2, he calls me, he's like, don't kill me. I'm like, don't kill you. What happened? What you do? It's like, don't kill me. I'm like, okay, what? Like, what?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to switch careers. What's wrong with you? Why are you doing that? Because he's like, I'm going into media. Right? And it was just like, okay. All right.
Yeah.
But how many years later? What is it? I almost want to say 10 years later. Lord God.
Wow.
But years later, because around there. He's successful in what he's doing. He's doing his media production. He's working for Oakwood. He's actually working for Oakwood right now. He's doing stuff on the side for himself. He's creating his own product line, right?
Yeah.
And so you look at that and he's content. And he's working with other young people and talking to them about their passions and dreams. And so it's just like, I'm so glad you kind of didn't listen to me. You didn't listen to me.
Yeah.
But it makes me happy now. Like, you kind of grinned through it during the process. But you're like, you know what? And at the end of the day, their contentment, like for me, you don't have to come back here. Like, please don't.
That's big. Yeah.
But I am so glad that you are successful where you are. Right. But here's also the other thing, because we always take the account for the successes, right? But sometimes we have to take account of those who do not hit that pinnacle. Yeah. And how do we pivot and surround them to let them know that you're not a failure? Right. You just didn't find what works for you. And how do we now get something that works for you? You know what I mean? So like the counseling portion of it, I'm back at school. I'm doing psychology because I'm going to be doing counseling. So
that's big.
Pray for me.
Yeah. Prayers up.
I feel too old to be at school. We're just talking about school, right? We're just talking about education.
Listen, man. Just the other day,
we all gotta get to where we need to go, right?
Yeah, man. Just the other day, there was some woman who was in her 80s who graduated from York, right? So it's never too late, man. Never too late to make that pivot and do what you need to do, right? So man, that's good on you.
That pivot, man. That pivot, like
yes.
I think we need to be. I'm gonna be the fitness person and say agile, right?
Yes.
You should be able to fall down and get back up, whether that is physically, mentally, spiritually. Pivot.
Yes.
Pivot. Be able to pivot. I always tell my son that. I'm like, oh, this doesn't work. Okay, what's next? What are you doing? Oh, that's not working. Okay, how are we moving forward? But it's never the negativity. It's the, okay, how can we do this? How can we move forward? Do you know what I mean? So no man is an island.
Right.
We are a community.
Yes.
And, that's the one thing that I really, truly want to promote, community, building up one another. It's never too late. As long as you have breath in your body,
right?
You have a brain that can learn and can food, yes.
Yeah. Yes, 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 yes.
It's never too late. So I'm
Awesome.
so glad that you've pivoted, because you
Yeah.
truly are on a new adventure and you're a trailblazer right now. So
Wow.
I
Thank,
acknowledge you for what you are doing. I appreciate you for what you are doing.
thank
And
you.
you're, the support is there for you, the love is there for you. And I
Hey.
know that you will change policies. I speak that
Mm,
in existence. You're going to change policies. You and your sister, you guys are doing big things. And I really
wow.
appreciate you for coming and spending this moment with us.
Yeah.
And then, this will be posted and you'll be able to share it as well, so that we can continue to build,
All
continue to build.
right.
So thank you.
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun, and I just want to shout out all the people that joined here. There's so many. I'm seeing some of my former students on here, so that's real cool. Thank you guys for joining and for listening and seeing some of my friends and stuff. So just thank you all. And my wife sent a heart, so that that. Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah. But yeah, man, no, thank you for this. This was fun. This was cool.
Not a problem. Last thought. Anything you want to share before we close out? I always leave the last thought to my guests.
All right. So last thought again is just I want to leave behind, you're talking about legacy. I really want to leave behind a legacy of humility. So no matter what I end up doing, no matter where I end up going, I always want to stay exceedingly humble and exceedingly accessible. Right. So, when I think about people that have been humble and have been accessible for me, when I think about people like, I don't know, like Donald McLeod or Royce and James, or some of these guys that have done some really big things. And I remember one time I called Royson, and he said, he said he had to go the other line. He went and he came back and he said, I just got rid of the mirror for you. So I hope that whatever you have to say is important. I was like, dang, you got off the phone with the mayor for me, right? So now, when I'm in a position here where I'm getting to do, a few different things, and I've had kids come and ask me to write them letters of recommendation or things of that nature, I got to do it. I cannot afford to say no. There's no way. So I definitely want to leave behind that legacy of humility, and just always know that it's about giving back constantly, always.
But I have nothing more to say. That's what it is. It's the generation of moving forward, propelling each other forward.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of the suppression mentality.
Mm,
Our world is changing. We know that there are still mountains to climb. We
yes.
know this, but together we can rise and climb those mountains. We have built so many things. We've invented so many things. We've
Yes.
engineered so many things, and we've rised up above so many things. So as we stick together as a community and we
Yeah.
continue to build one another up, I
Yeah.
know, I know, I know in my heart, I feel it in my heart, and I express it with all of my heart that we can do great things when we work together. So
So
you're gonna
Shika is
get
so. Do
off
you
the
see what
phone
Shika
with
just wrote?
someone for me. Yes,
Yes, Shika. I will cancel anybody for you except for my wife.
Chica. This is amazing. Thank
Um,
you, everyone. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the shout outs. Thank you, fam. Thank you, friends. And again, Hope's Corner, we're about sharing love, about building a community, and continuing to bond each other, one, two, together, so that we can continue this momentum of love, like and gaining knowledge. I almost forgot about that.
mm,
But this is about gaining knowledge so
yeah.
that we can continue to build. There's one thing, like, oh my gosh, there's so many things, like even our financial,
Mm,
I'm going to have a corner on that, because I
let's
think it's
go.
so important for us to understand. And even taking out, listen guys, even taking out the $5, because everybody always says that they don't have, but the
Yeah.
little you have, the
Yes.
little you have can go such a long way. So we got to teach each other. We got to
Mm,
bond together. We got to really, really build this community together. Thank you, everybody. This
yeah.
was a wonderful live. I really appreciate your time and your energy. We
Hey.
will chat soon. God bless you and continue to move.
All right. Thanks, Hope. Always
Listen,
Hope. Let's go.
listen. All right, here's where we're going to end it.
All right.
Enough
All right.
love.
We're done. All right.
Bye, everyone.
Later.